Okay, I just want to preface this by saying that I'm super nervous to talk about this. My heart is racing. I just scarfed down my oatmeal because hopefully it'll give me strength or courage. But I really feel like I should talk about this because now I'm 5 months postpartum, and which means about 3 months ago I stopped breastfeeding. And well, when I think about it, I wasn't really breastfeeding then. But I want to talk about why and how it made me feel. Because I was talking to a friend the other day about how she's, struggling right now. And, why she's, like, why the idea of giving up, quitting, whatever you want to call it, is hard. And I don't want to say, when I look back at my journey with Nolan, I don't want to say that I gave up, because I didn't give up. I tried so hard. Spent so much money, spent so much time trying to get this thing to work. And there's nothing more frustrating for a mom. I'm going to start crying about this. There's nothing more frustrating for a mom to think that she doesn't work, that there's a part of her that's broken, or that she can't provide for her child in the way that she thought that she could, in a way that's inherently like that's supposed to work. Women are supposed to breastfeed, right? So why is it difficult for some and easy for others? I never expected myself to be struggling with it. I never expected that it would be difficult. I literally, you can ask my friends, I was that person that was like, no pacifiers, no bottles. I don't even want formula in my house. I would get all these free formula, like coupons and formula samples, and I was like, Ryan, just throw that away, or just put that in the Goodwill pile, because we're never using formula on our baby. I read all the books. I read a book that basically said if a woman can't breastfeed, she wasn't trying hard enough. And I believed that to be true. So when it came to be my turn with Nolan, I was just like, we got this. We're going to do this. There's going to be no problems at all. We're going to be breastfeeding masters. I had all the scarves and all the cupboards you could imagine. Excuse me. But then by his 2-day appointment at post hospital, I hear that he's down 13% of his body weight. And that's alarming. He was a 7-pound, 9-ounce baby, and by then he was 6 pounds, 11 ounces, or whatever 13% of that is. And I was devastated. I was like, oh my gosh, am I doing it wrong? I went to every lactation specialist I could find. Even when I was in the hospital, every chance I got, I'd be like, hey, can you check my latch? Can you make sure that he's doing this right, that we're doing this right? And they all said I was good. They all said everything was working, everything was going okay. But why, when I got home, was it not going okay? So day four when Nolan's, I guess day 4 on Earth for Nolan, I went to a lactation specialist. She was saying I was doing everything right. She gave me shields, she gave me creams, everything. But sorry guys, if any guys are out there listening, and any girls who don't have babies and haven't tried breastfeeding yet, I had cracked, bloody nipples. I know, that's disgusting. I never thought that was possible, and I don't even care about saying that out loud because that's just a part of my story. Literally, like, he would be, like, blood. Like, that's awful, right? Anyways, so I tried everything. And for weeks, I was looking back at pictures last night, and I had syringes coming, like, all attached to me, like wires and tubes for formula supplementation, as well as him nursing on me. Like, it was an extreme, it was extreme. I mean, we tried so many different things. I was using those tubes and wires and everything everywhere. We would go out to eat, and I'd whip out my tubes and wires, and I remember one time Ryan and I were going out to eat, and I was like, well, I gotta feed Nolan first. So we were in the parking lot of this restaurant for over an hour where I was trying to feed him it was one of the most frustrating and painful experiences. Not necessarily painful and pain, because after we figured out how to latch him properly, it didn't hurt anymore. But it was painful because no matter what I tried, I always would get this glimmer of hope and be like, oh, something's happening. I think it's finally working. And then I'd see a lactation specialist, and they'd be like, he's not even getting an ounce from you, Noelle. And I'm like, Are you serious? I'm doing everything that you told me to. Why is this not working? I would cry constantly, being like, what is wrong with me? Like, is it because I worked out too much? Is that why I can't nurse? Is it because it's because I drink these awesome shakes? Is that why I can't nurse? Like, I kept thinking of all these trying to find a reason as to why it wasn't working. And it was 5 weeks in, and my in-laws were in town, and I was just a mess. I was just so empty and frustrated and emotionally drained. Sorry. And I was so mad at myself. Like, I wasn't giving enough to my son because this wasn't working. And I remember telling Ryan, if I can't nurse him, what is my purpose? What makes me different than anyone else out there, any other woman out there? What makes me his mom if I can't feed him? Mom guilt is so real, and I just kept believing that lie that I'm not a good enough mom if I can't feed him with my own milk, that I can't provide for my son, so therefore I'm not that special. I'm not really his mom. And I think that for a lot of new moms, our babies need us, but the one thing that need us the most is for food. And so we put all of our identity and our significance in the fact that breastfeeding equals my value. But you know what? It's not. And it took me a long time, and I'm so thankful that I'm married to Ryan, because he was the most understanding guy. He's the most understanding guy because he saw that I was breaking apart, and he saw that I wasn't being there for Nolan the way I should have been, because I was so wrapped up in this idea that if I'm not breastfeeding, I'm not a mom. And that's a lie. And yes, I titled this saying, I still feel jealous when I see moms. But you know what? The moment that I said, okay, I'm not going to breastfeed anymore, I'm just going to let this go, that's when I became Nolan's mom. Ooh. Sorry. I hope you can hear me talking, because I sound like I have like food in my mouth or something. Okay, just taking a moment. The moment I let go, that's when I became his mom. I realized that there's so much more to me than being his sole food provider. And I still am his food provider. I just provide him food in a different way. And I felt this huge relief just lift off of me, because I started looking at my son differently. I started looking at myself differently. And I was able to give him so much more, because I was starting to actually like myself again, because I was feeling more healthy, I was feeling more whole, and I had time again. I had time to enjoy him, because I was not enjoying Nolan during that season of time. I was literally he would come feed on me for 20 minutes to an hour, sometimes 2 hours. And then I'd give him away to someone else so I could just clean up, refresh, maybe take a shower, maybe go to the bathroom and drink some water, and then he'd be back on me again. I literally would have a 20-minute break of just me time. And so when I let go of that identity that breastfeeding equals a mother, I became his mom. I started actually watching his funny faces, enjoying his kicks, enjoying his smiles, enjoying him. And that is the biggest blessing that I got out of this whole situation. I got to enjoy my son. I got to actually, take him places and show him things and experience things with him. I got to see my husband truly enjoy him, feeding him. When we went to Formula, Ryan was able to feed him. When friends would come over, they would get to feed him. And seeing that was, and still is, an amazing, beautiful thing. And I wouldn't have that if I didn't go through the situation. Yes, breastfeeding is amazing, and I would give anything if I could do it. But that's just not my story right now. And if you're out there and you're struggling with this too, or you're like me when you started and you're like, I'm just going to be a breastfeeding crazy person, I got to tell you, get over that. Because, and I've told this to some of my friends, I think the reason why it was so hard for me to let go was because I was so convinced that the other was wrong. And the other is not wrong. Formula is not wrong. For some people, it's a huge blessing. Even if they can breastfeed, it's a huge blessing. For me, it's a huge blessing because my son's fed. He is fed, he is healthy, he is happy, he is whole, and so am I. So, if you're struggling out there with, enjoying breastfeeding, trying to decide if you should keep going, all I can say is it doesn't matter. It honestly doesn't matter. If you're feeding formula, if you're breastfeeding, it's all that matters is that you're showing up for your kid every single day, loving them and giving your whole self to them. Because that's what they need the most. More than being attached to your breast or attached to a bottle. They need you, happy and whole. So find out what it is to get you there. For me, it was letting go. You're not quitting. You're not giving up. You're just letting go of something that's holding you back from fully connecting with your child. That's what it was for me. I hope you find this encouraging. My life totally changed at 5 weeks when I let go and just started enjoying. So anyways, I hope that this helped. And for all you new moms out there, if you are breastfeeding, keep trying. I tried for 5 weeks, and I'm so glad that I did because we had a beautiful connection. Breastfeeding creates such a beautiful connection with your kid. And that was something that I was really sad to let go of. I really didn't want to lose that bond because I was convinced that, the moment I stopped breastfeeding, no one's not going to need me. But there's something so beautiful about seeing your child staring at you, eyes to eyes, while you're feeding them with a bottle. It's beautiful. You do have a connection, too. But you gotta just do what feels right. And I hope that this is encouraging, and I hope that that you are an amazing mother to your little one, no matter what you choose to do. So, have a wonderful Saturday. Thanks for listening.